Hey, if you're looking for an adventure and you want to find out some great information about the area, this is something you don't want to miss out on. Flagstaff Boat Tours, we have Jeff Hinman here, and he has been the captain of this vessel for how long now, Jeff?
This will be my 14th season doing the boat tours.
Well, this is a fine looking vessel right here. So, how many people can you take out on this trip?
I can take out up to 12 good friends.
Yep.
It's comfortable. If you have a group with kids, then 12 is very comfortable.
Now, this is an informational tour and a scenic tour as well. If you were to highlight a couple of the things that you're going to see out there that are interesting and fun to know about, what would you highlight?
Probably one of the things is a lot of people don't realize J.P. Morgan, the financier, had 16,000 acres down in Flagstaff, Dead River. He had a farm in Dead River, and so on any trip we do, I can show you the old barn foundation from the J.P. Morgan farm. He also had cabins on Spring Lake. So they would send their employees up out of New York, and they would come up here for the summer, basically.
You know, when you think about Flagstaff and the flooding of a town, I certainly would think that there was some resistance, and you certainly could never do that these days. What do you think the attitude was back then?
Oh, it was pretty mixed. You know, it was towards the end of World War II, so people were kind of used to making sacrifice. But the overall feeling was unhappiness. You know, a lot of these farms have been in the families for 100 years plus, so they weren't particularly happy to give up their family histories.
Now, there's a lot of different things that people say and misnomers and myths. What would some of the myths be? I mean, some people say there's a church steeple. Is that one of them?
That's probably the biggest one. On occasion, I do go to a bar. And on occasion in the bars, people say, "Oh yeah, the church steeple out there," and I'll say, "No, no, there's the church steeple is not there," and they will insist that the steeple is still there. But that was one of the things that basically all the buildings were either dismantled or moved or eventually burned.
Yeah.
Basically, this is a shallow lake, so if they'd left those buildings standing, the ice would have taken them down anyways.
Right.
But rather than have a lot of debris over the years keep coming to the dam, within the first couple years, they got rid of all the buildings.
Now, if you were to look at it from the air, as we can see the plane over here, you could actually see the road. Is that true?
Yes, yeah, you can see the road where it goes through the lake, comes over a lot of the peninsulas, some of the islands, and even from the air you can see the old river channel and you can see some of the old foundations.
What are some of the more popular questions that people ask if they're from away or even from here in Maine when you're out on an excursion?
Well, where are all the boats is probably the first one, and then where are all the camps is the second, because Flagstaff is basically surrounded by Bigelow Preserve. So once you leave Stratton, Eustis Stratton, there are very few camps out there. So most people are just struck by the remoteness and the wilderness.
Now, if someone wanted to take a boat excursion, you don't pick them up where in another location, but tell us where you pick up and where they can get more information about the tour and perhaps buy a ticket.
Basically, I'm a one-man operation, so I do have a website, flagstaffboattours.com, and I am on Facebook. So contact me is the only way. I basically collect when people do the tours. The majority of my tours leave from the town of Eustis Public Boat Access, which is the boat ramp on the north end of Stratton as you're heading north on 27. There's plenty of parking there, and there's a big dock. And if people are staying at Cathedral Pines Campground, which is a beautiful campground just about a mile up the lake from where we are right here, at certain times I can pick them up at the campground also. But all of my trips are by reservation. I do the 2.5-hour scenic historic tour. I do a 4-hour half day, basically hire me in the boat, and it doesn't matter the number of people, up to 12 close friends, or full day trips. And sometimes I do some camper transfers out onto the campsites. There are about 13 campsites around the lake. And I work with the huts, Maine Huts and Trails, and I do some hiker transfers from the Flagstaff hut over to Round Barn, and they can jump on the Appalachian Trail from there.
What kind of wildlife have you seen out here with people?
Oh, basically, everything from, you do see the moose, seen very few bears, deer, deer swimming, moose swimming, tons of loons, quite a few eagles. There are at least 6 nesting pairs of eagles around the lake, and there are somewhere around 25 pairs of loons on the lake, too. So that means there are probably 75 loons at any given time during the summer out here. So,
The sounds of summer, loons.
yes.
Flagstaff Boat Tours, and if you want to get a true tour of the area, find out all of the different things and interesting facts about Flagstaff Lake, you're the man.
I am. I give you a history of why the lake was created, talk about Benedict Arnold's march through the area, talk about when they used to do the log drives on the river and then the lake. They had to come up with another way of getting the wood down to the dam, sluice it through the dam and down into the dead. And I point out where farms and villages and all of that information used to be also.
Jeff, thanks for your time. This looks like a great trip. Everyone should take advantage of it. Go to your Facebook page and book a tour.
Well, thank you very much, and hopefully I'll hear from you guys, and you'll come up and see what's beautiful north of Sugarloaf.
There you go. We're right here with Jeff Hinman at Flagstaff Boat Tours.